Hi. This video is going to be a bit different to normal because normally we're a bit sort of, we joke a lot and we make light of things. Like how I'm talking about pissing pineapple on pizza, I mean, come on now. But today I want to talk about mental health because I have mental health problems. I've struggled with depression and anxiety for years and I don't really talk about it very much. Not for any particular reason, it just sort of doesn't come up. But I was trying to think of a topic for this week's video, this week's little nugget video, and I realised that I couldn't because for the past few days I've been in the middle of a sort of a little depressive episode. And I'm fine, but I realised that it's a good opportunity, as crap as it is to go through it, it's a good opportunity now that I'm somewhat back to normality. I want to be able to talk about it, and I want to be open, and I want to be honest, because otherwise, what's the point? My experience with depression and anxiety is that it's shit. To be perfectly honest with you, there's a strange sort of weird subculture of sort of romanticising it, but that's, in my experience at the very least, that's not what it is at all. It is shit, and there's no part of it I would wish upon anyone else because it's like uncontrollable and it springs on you and it's just there in your life. It's bizarre, but a lot of the time there are a lot of myths about depression, a lot of myths about anxiety, and I think anxiety is one of those things that's easier to talk about because you can make jokes about it. You can make jokes about anxiety, but it's harder to make jokes about depression. And I want to be honest about my experience with both of them. Anxiety for me, it's like, it's mostly been, okay, you know when you're worried about something and you have the thought in your mind of, I'm gonna fail that exam, I'm gonna not do well in that job interview, I'm gonna do whatever. And then after a while of thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, it goes round and round and round in your head, and then you start to shake and your heart maybe starts to beat a bit faster and you start sort of sweating, and that's when you're worried, that's when you know you're anxious. I found that my experience of anxiety has almost been the reverse. I'll start with the physical symptoms of feeling, of shaking, and my heart beats faster, I'm sweating and all this sort of stuff. And then I'm looking around and thinking, well, I'm just sat on the sofa, reading a book, or watching a movie, or stroking my cat, or I've got nothing to be worried about. But then because I'm there, my brain will start thinking up ideas and start talking about about these horrendous things that I am anxious about. And it's shit. There are ways that I cope with it because I've done therapy a couple of times now. I've gone through like a couple of different courses of therapy to try and help me manage this better. And now I feel I'm at a point where I'm doing okay, at least for now. I might go back to therapy in future, I might not need to, I don't know. Depression for me is much more sneaky, I think, is the word, than anxiety, in that I don't just wake up one morning and think, yep, okay, today I am having a depressive episode. That's not what it is for me. I think it's something that comes on over the course of a couple of days, I think, for me. And you know the phrase, looking at something with rose-tinted glasses, or rose-tinted lenses, and you talk about that and you say, oh, you're looking back at the past with rose-tinted lenses because you're looking back at something that wasn't very good, but you're thinking it is actually good. For me, it's like I'm looking at things with grey-tinted glasses. That's what it's like, is I'm looking at things that are good and things in my life that are, at the very worst, okay. And then I'm making something out of that. I would misconstrue things, overthink things. This is what I learned in therapy. I would ruminate over things, which is apparently where you sort of sit and you stew, and you stew over an idea and it just makes you feel worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and it keeps you going that way. And it's shit. It's not just feeling sad, it's prolonged and it's intense and it's feeling nothing. Not sadness or anger, or it's just feeling nothing. And it's hard to conceptualise in a strange way, but that's the best way I can possibly describe it, is that it's like feeling nothing. I'm not excited about things, I'm not sad about things, I'm not happy about things, I'm just nothing. And after a few days of sort of the self-care things, and after sort of this few days of things I've learned in therapy and sort of coaching myself out of it a bit, then I'm sort of back to normal again. And I can get excited when my cat comes up to me and wants a treat. And I can get excited by reading a new book for the first time, or whatever it might be. And that is... it's a strange experience to go from... it's like going from extreme nothing to extreme everything. But extreme everything is me when I'm normal. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then I'm very, very sorry, but I hope I've sort of been able to articulate myself there. I think that there are a lot of people out there that are suffering with mental health problems, and I think that there is still this shame culture about it. About, no, I'm not depressed, I'm not anxious, or maybe even it's just things like, oh, I'm just an anxious person. But I think it's always worth taking a look at yourself and taking a look at those things you're feeling and thinking, okay, is this normal? And is it sort of causing a problem in my life? Because if it's something that you live with every day and you sort of come in and out of good moods and bad moods, then that might just be good moods and bad moods. But I think if you look at a set of moods or a set of feelings and you think to yourself, no, this is abnormal for me, all of a sudden I feel really, really shit, quite often. Or I feel really, really anxious, quite often. That is worth talking to somebody about. And whether that's a friend, or a family member, or a therapist, talking to somebody is definitely the most important thing. I didn't really realise I had mental health problems for a long time, and my wife, when she was still my girlfriend, said, babe, do you think maybe you should talk to a therapist? Do you think maybe you should talk to somebody? And I did not want to. That's the God's honest truth. I didn't want to, but long story short, I eventually got myself to the GP, got myself to a therapist, and I think I was dragged there kicking and screaming in the end to the GP to make the appointment. But yeah, I did see a therapist, and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. That now I can identify when a depressive episode is coming on, or an anxious episode is coming on, and I can learn to deal with that a little better. And I'm not perfect at it, I don't think anybody is, but I'm much, much better than I was. I think therapy is a fantastic course of action for anybody who's experiencing mental health problems, because it's one of those things, again, like depression, like anxiety, it's nebulous. People don't know what happens in a closed door therapy room, and while I'm not going to encourage people who've gone through therapy to start divulging all of the secrets from that room, I think that it's worth saying that therapy is some of the most honest conversations you'll have, some of the most difficult conversations you'll have, but you will definitely be better after it. It will definitely help. The more honest you are, the more it will help. And I've learned that through the several different rounds of therapy I've done. So there is therapy, and there is going to a therapist and talking to a therapist, or going to your parents, or going to cousins, siblings, people you work with, people you are friends with, whatever it might be. But there is also just a day when, if I'm having a depressive episode and I need to coach myself through it, there is self-care. And self-care is not by any means a substitute for therapy, but it can help you get there, and it can help you stick to good mental health sort of habits. For me, I find the best self-care are like sort of, I've made a little list, because of course I have, sort of step-by-step processes. So baking is good, cooking is good, gardening is good. I find things like that very therapeutic. If I'm having a depressive episode, or I just feel a bit crap at the end of a day, but I will then say, right, okay, I'm just going to go and have to cook something complicated, because it completely separates my mind from ruminating over these thoughts, these negative thoughts and stuff, and instead I'm thinking about chopping up a sweet potato, or whatever it might be, and I think while that does work for me, it might not work for you, and if it doesn't, that's okay. There's loads of things out there. There's listening to a podcast, there's playing computer games, watching movies, reading books. There's loads of stuff out there. Just, I think, don't just dwell in it. I know that's much easier to say than it is to do. Trust me, I know. But even if it's just going and drinking a glass of water, or saying, right, well, I feel crap today, I'm having a depressive episode, I don't want to do it today. You don't have to go downstairs and make a 3-course breakfast. Just go downstairs and have a glass of water. That's all. I think starting something has more power than you would ever believe it had. If you're already in the bathroom to get a glass of water, then it's easier to brush your teeth because you're next to your toothbrush. Do you see what I mean? Starting something has a lot of power, and while I'm by no means an authority on mental health, I've struggled with it, and that's my advice. Try your very, very best, even though I know how difficult it can be. Try to do something, because it will make a world of difference. And don't keep it to yourself. Be open, be honest, tell your friends, tell your family. Do not keep it inside. You have to talk about it, I think. Whew. Okay, I think that is the end of my mental health chat for today. I hope I've been able to help you. I hope I've given you some good advice. If I haven't, then I'm sorry. If there's anything I have not explained very well, put it in the comments. Tell me I haven't explained it, and I'll do my best to write down an explanation. If you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody, definitely. I think that's the end of the serious mental health chat. I think, remember, I think, to talk. Never keep things bottled up, never keep things internalized. It's always worth talking to somebody about what you're feeling. Even if you might feel it's not worth talking about, being open and honest will always make things feel better, always. Okay, thank you for watching this short video. I wish you good mental health. Stay hydrated.